Okay, so hi guys, I'll be introducing you to the case Miranda versus Arizona today. Ernesto Miranda is a Mexican immigrant living in Arizona. He was identified in a police lineup by a woman who accused him of kidnapping and raping her. Miranda was arrested and questioned by the police for 2 hours until he confessed to the crimes. During the interrogation, the police did not tell Miranda about his Fifth Amendment protections against self-incrimination or his Sixth Amendment right to a lawyer. The case was sent to a trial in an Arizona state court, and the prosecutor used the confessions as an evidence against Miranda, who was convicted and sentenced to 20 to 30 years in prison. Miranda's lawyer appealed to the Arizona Supreme Court, which upheld the conviction made by the lower court. Then, they appealed to the United States Supreme Court, which agreed to hear it along with 4 similar cases. In taking the case, the court had to determine the role of the police have in protecting the rights of the accused guaranteed by Fifth and Sixth Amendments. The case was decided on June 13, 1966. The reason why Miranda's case can be brought to the Supreme Court is that the parties who are not satisfied with the decision of the lower court must petition the U.S. Supreme Court to hear their case. The primary means to petition the court for review is to ask it to grant a writ of certiorari. This is a request that the Supreme Court order a lower court to send up the record of the case for their review. The court will make a conversation where the parties or their lawyers have the chance to discuss the case and specifically address the prospects of settlement with the judge, law clerk, or the court's lawyer. In some states, the conversation is not recorded. The court hears oral arguments in cases from October through April, and they select certain cases in their pile. Oral arguments are open to the public for hearing. In Miranda's case, a lot of people signed their amicus curiae to provide their own arguments. Arguments supporting Miranda typically said this: the police clearly violate Miranda's Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, and his Sixth Amendment right to legal counsel. Arizona ignored both the Escobedo rule and the Gideon rule in prosecuting Miranda. His confession was illegally obtained and should be thrown out. His conviction was felony, and he deserved a new trial. Arizona supporters laid their arguments on opinions that Miranda was not stranger to the police procedures. He negotiated with the police officers with intelligence and understanding. He signed the confessions willingly. The prosecution was proper and his conviction should be upheld because it is based on the Arizona law, and his imprisonment was just. The Supreme Court should uphold the Miranda's convictions and not further cripple the work of the police. In the end, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 in favor of Miranda. The court's opinion carefully limited the situation in which these 4 warnings were not given must be given in order to permit the use of any confessions or other incriminating statements. The warnings must be given when a suspect is in the police custody. This means that the warning must be read before the questionings if the suspects are formally under arrest or in any settings in which their freedom of actions is limited in any significant way. This case results in a famous Miranda warning. The warning typically says this: you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions. You have the right to have a lawyer with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer the questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering at any time. Miranda v. Arizona was a significant Supreme Court case that ruled a defendant's statement to authorities that are inadmissible in court unless the defendant has been informed of their rights to have a lawyer present during questionings and understanding that anything they say will be held against them in court.